Hello and welcome. So I thought it would be a pretty good idea for a video to do my favorite sequels that I own on Blu-ray, right? Yeah, I mean, context behind it. I thought it'd be a good idea. Then it soon dawned on me that wait, I'm counting these up and I'm on 17 sequels that were to die for, that I would like fight to the end for, that have a real place in my heart and my collection. Um, and then I thought, well, I've set myself the task of doing a video. I thought, will I do a top five? No chance. So I thought, yeah, top 10. And it, it could all change once I watch a different sequel, and then I think, no, that deserves a place in my top 10. So this is not concrete. No, it can't be, because I haven't got the likes of Psycho 2 in there, and Texas Chainsaw 2. So and they're great films. Okay, so top 10. The Return of the Living Dead 2. I mean, the original is one of my favorite films of all time, and the sequel is one of the rare times that and I think this is like a Spanish release. Obviously, it plays the English dub and English subs along with like Spanish. Yeah, 90-minute runtime. Zombie film, comedy. Yeah, watching the first one and it instantly being like arguably my favorite film of all time. This had a lot to live up to. I remember watching it. I think like very soon after the first one, and instantly I fell in love with the same. I fell in love with the same way as the first. I prefer the first, but this is like a very very worthy follow up. That's Return of the Living Dead Part 2. Next, this is in no particular order. Please don't ask me to put this in order, because that would just wouldn't be able to live with myself. Next up is Chucky, the sequel. Should I say Child's Play? Exactly, the Child's Play franchise is synonymous with that killer doll right there, so I say Chucky. But anyway, number two is amazing because it does what I guess sequels should do. Or arguably should do, not all the time, but it sort of like takes what's brilliant about the first one and then ramps it up. I don't always agree with doing that, because I don't think there should be a formula to a sequel, but this does what, like, I don't know, does it do what Aliens does to Alien? It introduces new characters, and it introduces a wonderful new addition to the cast, and she, actually I won't say too much, but her and Andy sort of have to fight off Chucky now, and like it's just a beautiful sort of adopted pair of brother and sister that look out for each other against the killer doll. And I think this is the one with the sequel is the one in the factory, and yes, of course it is, because she fights him in the factory, and it's what happens to Chucky is the animatronics, I believe, and like the makeup and whatever. There's a car chase, profanity from Chucky. Yeah, this is I love that film. Okay, next up. Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan. I believe this came out 3 years after the motion picture, and wow, what a follow up! I mean, the motion. I can't. I don't know which I prefer, the motion picture or Wrath of Khan. I think if I'd probably lean towards the motion picture. But the Wrath of Khan, I'm like everyone else who loves Wrath of Khan and says it's a colossal film. It's it's a beautiful story. It's action packed. It's got some terrific actors, terrific acting. Um, it's just a legendary piece of cinema. The Wrath of Khan. Next up, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I don't say this lightly, but this is arguably, oh man, this is like one of the greatest sequels ever made in the history of cinema. Um, and obviously it's going off of the book pretty faithfully, and just the Chamber of Secrets. Growing up, this was my favorite one. Nowadays, I lean more towards Azkaban, Prisoner of Azkaban. the Chamber of Secrets, it has like horror in there with like the snakes and the writings on the wall. So I proper got into that as a child because of my love for horror, but just like having everything, like seeing more magic in Hogwarts, having the one of the best scenes for me in the history of cinema is like the trolleys at the beginning, trying to jump on the Hogwarts Express, flying cars. Wait, I could be getting scenes muddled. Anyway, Chamber of Secrets, amazing. Next up, Saw 2. Now, Saw 2 again does something that uh, it goes even more than what Child's Play 2 did. It takes something that's like the first one, the original, is just legendary. It's amazing. One might say masterpiece. And then it expands on that, expands on the lore, expands on what you can do instead of just doing the same thing. And number 2 is my favourite Saw film. Or at least it was anyway. I mean, I appreciate the first one probably more so now. But yeah, the second one is like it's like the aliens, it's like the aliens of the alien towards Alien. You know, it's like action packed. It has a group of people that are all like subject to Jigsaw's cruel intentions. And I'll never forget the needle pit. Never, 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 never. I know everyone's going to agree with me here. There'll be no arguments whatsoever. T2, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. I mean, my favourite scene is the bike ride in the after the arcades when the antagonist is chasing Arnie and your man on the bike through I want to say, like, they're not subways, but they're, anyway, it's like, is it through LA? Anyway, they're getting chased by the big ass truck and they're on a bike, and I just love that scene. And yeah, T2 is, oh man, you've got that scene where like they're predicting like the end of the world with the playground burning up to a crisp, and you've got all the one-liners. You've got Arnie learning all the phrases from Connor. Oh man, this is terrific. One of the greatest sequels of all time, and I know you will agree. My personal, The Mummy 2, The Mummy Returns. Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, the son is his name, and the uncle, the geezer that plays the mummy. Everything about this film, the adventure, the hot air balloon, it quadruples in size compared to the first one. It's really a family adventure. It's got stakes. Towards the end is nerve wracking, especially watching as a child. I've watched this film on par with how many times I've watched the original Star Wars trilogy. Yeah. The scene in London with the uncle and the son driving around the double-decker bus, and naughty film. Now, recency bias, you might say, but no, I mean, arguably this is one of the greatest sequels of all time, and it's non-arguable really, because what Terrifier 2 does compared to the first one, I mean, it's a show of budgetary means and what you do with your money, and what you do with like imagination in terms of like the writers and the direction and whatnot. I mean, Terrifier 1, the original, is very like low budget. It's very singular. Yeah, I don't even know how much dialogue is in that film, but Terrifier 2 is one of my favourite films of recent years. I adore Terrifier 2. I can't wait to watch it more and more and more, and to glean more out of it, because I think there's so much there to be discovered, you know. But Terrifier 2, I mean, Terrifier 2, mate. Right, one of my favourite films growing up, and still my favourite film in the franchise, is Final Destination 2. We all know the scene with on the road with the logs, and we'll always be reminded that when we're on motorways ourselves. This has so many fun kills. This is one of my favourite films going. It's so fun. Yeah, I could watch this just endlessly. Wow, we're up to the 10th film. Not that it's in order though. Yeah, The Dark Knight. I mean, I'm sure you're not bored of hearing people wax lyrical about The Dark Knight. But yeah, no, The Dark Knight in terms of like, sequels, it's on par with, like I said, like Terrifier 2 is one of those ultimate sequels, right? The Dark Knight is one of those ultimate sequels. Um, for some people, Wrath of Khan is. The Dark Knight is arguably some people's favorite film, let alone people's favorite like comic book film. Dark Knight is one of my favorite films. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it's. Yeah, look, listen, Dark Knight is in my top 10, right? That's the top 10. But I mean, if I'm being like really, really real with you guys, um, I'd be remiss to leave out Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars. But it just wouldn't be fair, would it? It wouldn't be fun because of course I'm going to mention that, and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2. I mean, of course I'm going to mention those two. But obviously, that's the top 12. I wanted to be kind of stick to what I set myself when I made this video. But that is it. Let me know some of your favorite sequels. Hopefully, I gave you some ideas or anything you could watch from that little stack there. They're all brilliant. I love them all. Tell me what you reckon. Thank you very much.